Hello everybody and welcome back to Team Vikavolt's YouTube channel. I'm coming with you here on this wonderful Monday that I am recording and posting this video with another post-rotation deck list for all of you people who really like giraffes mixed with saber-toothed tigers with electric powers. I'm talking about Raging Bolt EX, obviously, here in this Japanese deck list, but it's also a post-rotation deck list. Raging Bolt EX is not going anywhere, and we're going to talk about why. But first, let's go ahead and highlight a few cards that will be in the deck list that I have to share with all of you today. Let's start off with the basics. Raging Bolt EX is obviously the namesake of this post-rotation deck list that, again, we will get to here in a second. It's a dragon-type Pokemon, so watch out for Lily's Clefairy post-rotation. That is going to be a huge pain in the bolt, but 240 HP is not too bad. It is an ancient Pokemon for Raging Bolt EX with its mouth wide open right there. You have Burst Roar and Bellowing Thunder. Burst Roar does what it does, and Bellowing Thunder is what you're actually here for. For a lightning and a fighting energy, it does 70 damage. You may discard any amount of basic energy from your Pokemon. It says this attack does 70 damage for each card you discarded in this way. Once upon a time, Raging Bolt EX used to be called Raging Bulk EX because Bellowing Thunder was just that difficult to actually take advantage of for competitive viability. But then along came Teal Mask Ogerpon EX, 210 HP, basic Terra Pokemon. It is a grass type, and Teal Dance probably doesn't need too much explanation if you keep up with the competitive scene. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic grass energy card from your hand to the Pokemon, and if you attach energy to a Pokemon in this way, you draw a card. It does not have too bad of an attack for 3 grass energy. Myriad Leaf Shower does 30 damage plus 30 more damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So it's kind of like Psychic, but, you know, a tree. So these are the two big pieces, obviously, of any Raging Bolt EX deck list. However, this post-rotation list does include a few, just a couple, like literally 2 interesting inclusions before we get into the list itself. Those 2 inclusions are Baby Raging Bolt, as I'm sure everybody's going to end up calling it, and Ditto. That's right, a Ditto. So the Baby Raging Bolt came out in Stellar Crown. It has 130 HP. It is another Dragon-type ancient Pokemon. It is still a basic. And for the same exact attack cost as Bellowing Thunder, a lightning and a fighting energy, Thunderburst Storm says that it does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy attached to this Pokemon. Seeing as how we're not going to have any bench damage protection for a while post-rotation, at least for a couple of months, this allows Raging Bolt EX as a deck archetype to do something that it wasn't able to do before, and that is snipe the bench. So if you have, I don't know, an opposing evolution early stage Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field, you could use, Thunderburst Storm in order to take care of it before it turns into something scary like a Gardevoir EX or a Charizard EX or something of that nature. It also allows you to soften up Pokemon that have some pretty beefy HP with a 1 prize Raging Bolt, so that's pretty cool. Dragon Headbutt is also there for an additional colorless energy, just for a vanilla 130 damage. But it does have a retreat cost of 3, which is something to, take into consideration. It's a little bit of a pain to get out of the active spot. Over on the other side, however, we do have Ditto, and this Ditto is from base set Scarlet and Violet. It is being included in a lot of Japanese lists, a lot of post-rotation lists, so it might be worth your time to pick it up before rotation comes our way for its ability Transformative Start. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may search your deck and choose a basic Pokemon you find there, except any Ditto. If you do, discard this Pokemon and all attached cards and put the chosen Pokemon in its place, then shuffle your deck. And then literally the one attack is called Splup. Splup for 10 damage and 1 colorless energy. Transformative Start is seemingly included in so many deck lists post-rotation because it just allows you to increase the consistency of which Pokemon you start the game with so that you don't end up with like a dead start at the beginning of a game. Like let's say you get a baby Raging Bolt stuck in the active at the very beginning of the game and you just can't retreat it for whatever reason and it just throws off your whole tempo during a game. Ditto is kind of like a fail-safe to be able to get in the active spot or maybe even start out with in the active spot and guarantee that you're starting the game off with the Pokemon that you actually want in the active spot. It is another way to fish out a Pokemon that you need throughout the game at any point in the game as well. It's just a really interesting consistency option for decks moving forward post-rotation. So let's get into the list. That's what you're here for, everybody. So I know I've yammered on quite a bit already with this video, but credit where credit is due. Thank you very much to the X or Twitter user, Japanese Twitter user, Japanese X user, at Shimachu_0621. Thank you for sharing your list. They took this list, I believe, to a city league and wound up in a high placement, definitely top 4. I'm afraid I don't recall off the top of my head. That's my bad. That's on me. But it's a competitively viable list. I mean, it is Raging Bolt EX. I've already gone into a lot of exposition about the key cards, the key attackers, but I did want to highlight just a few little things right here as I bring up my pen. It looks like the main engine, besides, you know, Teal Dance or Teal Mask Ogerpon EX's ability, you are also running a Noctowl engine to be able to fish out the trainers that you really need during a game, and then you are also running the Fan Rotom to be able to fish out the Hoot Hoot to be able to evolve and maybe even to fish out the Ditto as well and the Noctowl just to get set up basically with your search engine, because we are losing when it comes to Raging Bolt EX as an archetype. We are losing Pokestop, which was such a huge part of Raging Bolt EX as a competitive archetype here pre-rotation, but now we're talking post-rotation where we can't just be, you know, willy-nilly discarding the top 3 cards of our deck and getting energy in the discard pile and turbo and using trekking shoes and stuff like that, because all of that is going to rotate. And so it's a little bit more refined, it's a little bit more purposeful because we're using bird searches with our long neck saber-tooth giraffes in the competitive TCG post-rotation. You still have all your basic search, all your basic ball search and energy search, prime catcher, because it's an aggressive deck. You want to target down what you want to target down. 1 copy of Bravery Charm will buff your HP as well. And the reason I think we're only including 1 may perhaps be because we are also including Jamming Tower. It wouldn't really make too much sense to run a heavy line of Bravery Charm if we're just going to be shutting off the effects of tool cards anyhow, which is really strong post-rotation, especially when it comes to like TM Devolution, all the TM Evolution, TM Devolution, Bravery Charm itself, etc., etc. We are expanding our bench size because now that we're running Bird Search, we need more room on the bench to actually be able to fit all of the other pieces that we have to get set up and actually do damage. And so we are running Area 0 under depths, and of course our Terra Pokemon is going to be Teal Mask Ogerpon EX. And so when it comes to support options for Raging Bolt EX moving forward, it does look a little bit different. Another thing to take into consideration post-rotation is that we get a lot of wall decks post-rotation because we have so many strong EX Pokemon, and EX Pokemon are going to be absolutely prevalent in the competitive scene. EX decks are going to need to find a non-EX alternative to be able to deal with Pokemon like Aegislash or Mimikyu, who have immunity from damage from EX Pokemon, hence why the baby Raging Bolt is included in this list as well. So you're going to want to be prepared for that if you're looking to go to any post-rotation tournaments, especially NAIC and things like that, which are coming up here in the next few months already. I can't even believe it. It's pretty crazy. We're running Crispin as well. I wanted to talk about that because it just helps you to get the energy that you need into play straight from the deck. And, you know, because if you're not familiar with Crispin's effect, the supporter card, you get to pick 2 different type basic energy cards from your deck. You get to attach one to one of your Pokemon, and then the other one goes to your hand. You can do lots of different combinations with that. It would definitely help you to get a Raging Bolt set up as you need. So there is Crispin as well. There's 1 copy of Judge, which I don't know, and 1 copy of Iono. Maybe the Judge could get cut from the list. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's for the early game to slow down your opponent. Not 100% sure why Shimachu decided to utilize Judge as opposed to some other kind of hand disruption, like a second Iono, or even a 06 Machinations. But they chose to use Judge, and so there it is. Don't know how I really feel about Judge. I would have to test this out to see exactly how, you know, effective it is. And then lastly, when it comes to our energy, we have a 3/3 line of lightning and fighting energy, and then 6 grass energy, obviously, so that we can use those grass energy to draw cards with Teal Mask Ogerpon EX, just like Raging Bolt EX and Teal Mask Ogerpon EX does now. But they're going to keep doing it post-rotation. And that's the list. That's just a little bit of extra explanation about how this list works. And then, you know, you got the free retreat with the Latias EX, and then, of course, flip the script to be able to draw more cards if you end up getting knocked out. So there it is. There's the whole list. Professor Sadas is also here. I'm sorry, more things are popping into my head. Professor Sadas is also here to accelerate energy and draw cards as well. And so Raging Bolt EX isn't going anywhere post-rotation. It looks a little bit different. Maybe it runs a little bit slower than we're used to pre-rotation. But just based off of the looks of this list and thinking through it, which we have done thoroughly at this point, it looks like it's going to be still a viable contender. I know that it's still going strong in Japan, and I hope that you give it a test, that you like the list. And again, huge shout out to @Shimachu_0621 over on X. Leave him a follow if you're on X and all that stuff. And with all of that now said and done, thank you for tuning in to Team Vikavolt's YouTube channel. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to do all the YouTubey things on your way out. Leave a comment down below, say hi, sub for more, and thanks for watching. As usual, I'm going to try to continue to dig up lists that are competitively relevant post-rotation, but hopefully not too far into the future. I'm trying to keep it not too far into the future. I have plenty of deck lists for like Journey Together and all that stuff. If y'all want to see that, let me know down in the comments below. But I just kind of wanted to keep it within the current timeline as much as possible, if you know what I mean. Anyhow, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Appreciate everybody's support, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.